Hi, and welcome back to the Peak Endurance Podcast here on YouTube. Episode 148 is an interview with Lincoln Quilliam, founder and race director for the Kunanyi Mountain Run. Kunanyi Mountain Run is a brand new trail running festival down in Hobart. In fact, it'll be the city's first ever national scale running event, utilising the incredible Kunanyi, or Mount Wellington as it is more commonly known, that is right on their doorstep. Lincoln comes onto the podcast to chat about this and Tassie trail running in general. Please don't forget to show your support for the show by rating, reviewing and subscribing. The link is in the show notes and I love reading the reviews. They really warm my heart. My coaching services are currently at full capacity. To get onto the waiting list, go to my website, peakendurancecoaching.com.au, and register your name, or you can go to the show notes to find the link to the page to do that. Are you sick and tired of being injured or running in pain? Ensure you're ready for racing this year and come and see the team at Health and High Performance. To be honest, I like to just go see them regularly just for a bit of a tune-up. Love running again by heading to healthhp.com.au/run, or you can find them on Instagram, Health High Performance. Now, halfway through this podcast or YouTube video, my laptop froze and we dropped out, obviously. I think we restarted quite seamlessly, to be honest. You be the judge. Enjoy this episode. Hi, Lincoln, and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast.
Hi, Isabel. Great to be here with you.
Now, can you tell the listeners a bit about yourself and how you yourself got into running and ultra running?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a born and bred Tasmanian and grew up bushwalking and whitewater rafting and a bit of snowboarding. There's not much snow down here. And then left Tassie about 22 years ago and lived and worked across Australia and Europe and the US and the like, and ended up in PNG, actually, of all places.
Oh.
So my passions were snowboarding, first and foremost, since I went home in an ambulance on my first day at Mount Field down here. So it was all about backcountry snowboarding, and then that transferred into alpine climbing and climbed some decent peaks with the New Zealand alpine team in Peru and the like. Then I moved to PNG around 2015, and no snow and not really any developed climbing, and certainly not many people to go adventuring with in that regard. So ended up, doing a bunch more hiking and running just for fitness. Hiked the Kokoda track in 4 days, then did the same in 3 days, and then I was like, hey, well, let's just do this as a single push. And so one of my mates there knew one of the Las Pativa runners at the time, and he came over and we had a crack. And for the second, we were going a bit slow, and so for the second half, we actually had to start running to get there in our target time of 29 and a half hours. So we were very slow for the first half. And then it was after that, I was like, well, so we just basically, ran 96K with 6,000 meters vert. That's trail running though, right?
And, yeah, that's right.
And then just got thinking back to my my roots in bushwalking, and it's like, well, I can now go and run any of those multi-day walks that I did, and it's like, yes, there's the adventure, because climbing's a bit scary. Tassie's way too fickle for snow. And so when I moved home a couple of years ago, so stoked to be home. It's such an amazing place down here. Trail running was it, and so it was all about finding and building the community down here. Trail running's been happening for decades and centuries even, but and then it's like, okay, so my intro to trail running was running the Kokoda track in PNG. And it's like, oh, cool, I heard about the Cradle Run. And so that was, number one on the bucket list, but I had to do some qualifiers for that. So UTA 50 in 2018, and on it went from there. And that's it. It just fell in love with the sport, particularly the ultra and like wilderness adventures as well, really getting out deep, really committing, fully immersed.
Yeah.
And just love it. The mental side, more than the physical side, even, I think. But
yeah, I mean, I have to agree. That's a huge component of it that's highly underrated. You know, we spend so much time on our physical fitness, but it's that mental side, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you've been involved in some big runs yourself as well. Did you want to tell us a bit about those that you've done as well as those ones you just talked about?
Yeah. Well, racing I haven't done so much really, like UTA 100 last year, gone nuts, 101 up on the northwest coast of Tassie, absolutely epic, has to be done. What was that, a couple of years ago now? And Cradle Run last year. It's 2021 Cradle Run.
Who knows what year it is anymore?
Exactly. But yeah, it's the personal wilderness adventures that like events are amazing to bring community together and celebrate getting out on the trails. And Australia and Tasmania has such a great trail running community, so many legends, such genuine people. But yeah, the personal wilderness adventures where it's just you and a couple of mates, very carefully selected, because it's pretty hardcore out there. You definitely want people who are competent and confident and that you get on real well with. Well, you certainly develop relationships out there.
Oh yeah.
But some highlights. I mean, the Western Arthurs in Tassie is absolutely epic mountain range, super compact alpine quartzite with gorgeous lakes and razorback ridges and the like. Famous Lake Oberon is, across many, one of the famous Tassie wilderness photos, really. And so, met a bloke called Piotr Babis, who was down here as a backpacker a number of years ago, and he's stayed here ever since. So I think Tassie, or at least myself, is claiming him as Tasmanian now. Yeah, we ran like 3 capes together, and then Western Arthurs together, which was a huge achievement for me personally. And we actually wrote or captured it on video, submitted that to the Cradle Mountain Film Festival a couple of years ago, and was successful with winning the 1 year of adventure in Australia, Tasmania film competition there. So that was pretty cool.
Oh,
but
awesome.
After the Western Arthurs, right, well, what's next? And man, I've got a bucket list of Tassie adventures. It's long, it just keeps going. And then we tackled the Penguin to Cradle Trail. So that's normally a 6 to 8 day, pretty interesting bushwalk. There is a couple of roads coming in, which is nice for the logistics and supply. But there's a section there which is a pretty high alpine traverse, and Tassie weather, particularly out west, can really get you. So the first attempt at that, we got pushed back by a snowstorm in the dark at that location, and so came back another day with armed with better knowledge, and so was the first or set the fastest known time as being the only people to run single push through Penguin to Cradle Trail. And then recently Precipitous Bluff. Now, before that, I was like, oh yeah, I've got a pretty endless adventure bucket, it's bottomless, keep feeding it. But my adventure bucket's full now. It was gnarly, just crazy Tassie bush bashing, coming down off Precipitous Bluff, through limestone karst country, so big sinkholes opening up in front of you, sliding down slippery, super steep into karst sinkholes in the dark, etc. Anyway, so that was a real peak of my trail running journey so far, and there are more to come, but we'll have this baby that's due tomorrow, and
that's right.
deliver the Kunanyi Mountain Run and go from there.
You'll just have to take baby along.
Absolutely. No. So I think we've already booked in with some mates to hike the overland track, as a start with 1-year-olds. So let's see how that goes.
Well, I certainly know for myself, when I was a baby, my parents would take me bushwalking, on a thing on the back, that was, I've been bushwalking all my life. You have a wealth of knowledge, obviously, of the Tasmanian trails, and, you say you've got a bucket list this long, and I guess living here on the, for want of a better word, mainland, I guess, we kind of think Tassie's quite small, but you're saying that there is a huge amount of running that can be done there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tassie is just so diverse. That's the thing, you know, like compared to many places in Australia, it in terms of land size, it's small, but in terms of experiences and different vegetation and land types, terrain types, and how it feels, it's jam packed with so many different experiences. Like each coast is completely different, and then we've got like 3 or 4 really quite different sort of landscape types, you know, inside the island. So let's call that, I don't know, I'm just completely making this up. Let's call that 13, 14, 15 completely different types. Whereas, you know, and forgive me, New South Wales, but just completely making this up. I lived in Sydney for 5 years, so I can sort of half claim something. But yeah, I mean, you've got probably 3 sections of coast, maybe 4, maybe 5, and then, you know, so I don't know, let's just say there's as much diversity in Tassie as there is in perhaps New South Wales, just jam-packed in.
And I mean, I have to say, I mean, I live in Victoria, but, you know, there's not a huge range of diversity. Like, you know, we went to New South Wales recently and we found even that was way more diverse to us. So if Tassie's, you know, even more, and that means also with it being smaller, you can access it all much easier, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. So your drive times aren't that long, and you find you have to stop a lot. And so, you know, we'll just do a lap of Tassie. You know, it's tiny. We'll do that in 3 days. It's like no. You at least tend to really, you know, get a good flavour of all the different diverse places.
Now, you're the vice president of the Tasmanian Trail Running Association. What's the trail running scene like in Tassie? I mean, you say there's heaps of, you know, epic adventures there, but what's the actual trail running scene like?
Yeah, well, good question. I mean, look, to be honest with, I've only come into trail running in the last sort of 4 years or so. I don't have a huge amount to compare it to. Certainly there wasn't much in PNG, but it's an amazing community down here. Like it's really warm. We have quite a number of events, and they are continuing to grow quite rapidly, really.
Yeah.
And you know, as we know, our community does gather around events, as well as around club events and the like. And so a couple of years ago, when I was moved down full time, we had an existing group, the Hobart Trail Runners, the Facebook community, not unlike Brisbane Trail Runners, and people who've moved down sort of set it up in a similar vein. And you know, through that, met a few crew down here and was doing some runs, but we didn't have regular run nights as such. So just that simple act of I set up a regular Wednesday night every single week, same time, same place, doesn't matter what the weather is. And really quickly that community just grew. And you know, we were having 50 to 60 regularly, and we wouldn't really want too many more than that, to be honest. Just for the close-knit sort of community, we had up to 80 a couple of times and the like. But yeah, I mean, we've got a diversity of events as well. So Gone Nuts up north has 25, 50, 75, 101. It's an amazing traverse of the pretty magical coastline up there, as well as some interior beauty. Tassie Trail Fest has moved to Launceston, and that has a miler now, 100 miles, as well as 100k and a couple of other things. All around sort of Launceston and Trevelyan. There's smaller scale sort of series. So Endorphin run a series in the iconic places around Tassie, being Freycinet, Tasman Peninsula. It was one at Dove Lake, in Mount Field and the like, and more up to sort of getting towards a half marathon. The Kunanyi Trail series was started just a couple of years ago here on the mountain in Hobart. And we've just taken that over actually for this year. Our first event's 20th of Feb. That's a series of 4 runs up to half marathon. Again, very, very local community focused, but people from around the state come down for that. There's other events up north that have been going for quite a while as well, and run in Arantapu is the new name for the old sort of convicts and wenches. And the beauty of all of these events, or many of them, I think, is really connecting with the landscape and some of the history of it. And Kunanyi Mountain Run, the run I've been working on for the last couple of years with our inaugural event in April, is really really wants to connect with the Aboriginal history and learn and share and amplifies those stories. But yeah, really capturing the diversity of landscapes, connecting community, and sharing stories. Because I think we all have our own story that we, use running to fulfill or to let out or to expand and all sorts of things. I mean, running is so much stuff to so many people. But then particularly in nature, of course, just that, it's almost spiritual really, but just the calmness and the human civilization worries and whatever just seem to disappear as soon as you're in the bush. So
yeah, I mean, I know for myself, if I don't get out into the bush a couple of times a week, you really notice the difference within yourself, don't you?
Oh, 100%. Like I just turned into a grumpy bloke that really needs to go get out in the bush, to be honest. And that's really what we've seen as well with Hobart trail runners. That I've had a lot of great feedback. People coming up saying, "Oh, thank you so much for putting these on." And it's like, well,
awesome.
It's for me too. I want to get it. It gets me out the door and into the trails, and it's so awesome to see other people really taking benefit from it. But what they say is, I need this is part of my well-being, my mental health. It's a self-prescription to treat or prevent issues from expanding. So that's amazing. That's so cool, and that was really part of the huge why for me. Sorry if I'm just jumping into your next question or whatever it might be, but the huge part of the why for me is that Tassie's so amazing. Yeah, the diversity that we've spoken of, and the power that gives you, not the diversity, but the connection to nature, but the benefits that it gives me. I see so many people out there struggling and whatever else. And so, well, if I could just help you step out onto the trails once and for you to feel what I feel, then win. That's beautiful. And so, creating events where people can, not only feel stepping onto the trails, but the community that's around it. For me, I found that was probably one of the best things that I could do.
It's the connecting with like-minded people, isn't it?
Yeah, and even people that don't know they're like-minded.
No.
I've got a little story. I'll try and make it short. So I created the Tarkina Ultra Marathon up in the northwest of Tassie in partnership with the Bob Brown Foundation. Now, of course, they're the greenies, right? And up in the northwest, particularly the far northwest, and I'm completely stereotyping here, but and there was some pretty nasty stickers up there about Bob that I won't repeat. But generally greenies aren't really, or the perception of someone that's a greenie is not welcomed very much by certain sectors up there. And so as I was up there, creating and ground truthing the route, like I don't mind a pub feed and a beer. So I was in the TAV up there, the Marrawar TAV, and having some interesting conversations with the locals up there because they knew exactly why I was there and who I was in partnership with. So I made a big point to say, no, I'm not the foundation. I'm an independent working with, but I wasn't afraid to have those conversations because I was really interested to understand, well, what is this for them in terms of what does this country mean for them? Because that's why, I was so stoked to spend a whole heap of time up there, putting the route together and then the events. the country out there is so powerful. West Coast, huge surf, and the coastline that's just copped that weather and that surf for eons, and it's amazing country. So anyway, the having conversations, and that was getting a little heated and all sorts of stuff. But after at least one, maybe two beers of talking, we landed on the same thing, that they were all conservationists as well, just in their own right.
Yeah,
they really respected that country as well, just in slightly different ways.
Yeah.
And so that was amazing to start a conversation being complete opposite ends and then end up coming together. And so that's an interesting thing, particularly with Kunanyi Mountain Run. And as we're doing, looking at the marketing and advertising and the like, and, target markets and whatever. And it's just like, well, it really is everyone. I mean, most people in the trail running community luckily seem to have heard of it and got strong registrations from the existing community. But it's like, well, I want to share this with everyone else. And it's can't wait to see how that actually delivers and in the years and probably decades to come.
Yeah, well, hopefully, yeah. And as you've alluded to, you're a race director. So how did you get into race directing?
Yeah, well, that's another good one. It was actually 2018. So I'd only just run Kokoda in 2017. But 2018, it's like, right, I'm moving home, and was working fly in, fly out of PNG in 2018, and was looking at, well, what am I going to do when I actually move home full time? Didn't really, nothing really came to the fore in terms of what I really wanted to do as a career as such. I'm a civil engineer and have been for a number of years, but do I really want to do that forever? And so whilst I was looking for that, I came across or dreamt up a personal project of, well, I like this trail running thing. Let's see, maybe I'll put an event on. And UTA 2018 watched the Tarkina film, which Patagonia sponsored and produced, about running in the Tarkine.
Yep.
And about the forestry fights and the like. And I'm like, that's the event. So I just reached out to Patagonia and the foundation, and within 10 months of reaching out, we delivered the first event.
Oh, wow.
So that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And in terms of, well, what skills and experience do you need to be a race director? I don't know what the answer is to that question formally from whatever. And actually, that's something with the TTRA, Tasmanian Trail Running Association, had on, something that we might want to think a little more about. But my skills and experience came through in project and event management, from that side of governance, risk management, project planning and execution, resourcing, et cetera, budgeting and the like. But the safety side and understanding the technical nature of trail running and hazards of coastline and water and that. Actually, there's some engineering technical that came into civil engineering that came into the coast and the rivers. But then there's a whitewater raft guide I did a little bit of back when I was like early 20s and the like, and particularly all that time out in the bush and in the mountains. So that kind of technical risk management of understanding the bush and the mountains and what they can throw at you, that combination of everything was absolutely gave me the confidence to send hundreds of people out into the bush and know that I've assessed or identified all the risks, assessed them, come up with reasonable controls that can be practically implemented that keep people safe enough, whilst give them the information they need to know so that they can be safe themselves. It's a pretty interesting skill set actually, in terms of what.
There's a lot. I mean, it's a diverse range of skills that you need. It certainly is, and I would say problem solving is one of the highest on the list, though.
Yeah. Well, actually, definitely, you can't have a skill that race directors or race owners at least can't have is business nous, because none of us would do it if we had more business nous. Like it's crazy how much time and effort it takes and how non-commercial it is. So it really is, even
a labour of love.
Yeah, labour of love, and we want to give participants the most amazing experience, and it looks like all full professional, and hopefully will, and really good, flags and whatever else to make people feel really in the event and the festival. But the actual, the balance books at the end is interesting.
Well, certainly always in the first year. Now, as you said, you're the race director for the new Kunanyi, is that right?
Yep.
I know you. I heard you say it, and I was like, oh, that's easy. And then I go to say it, it's hard. That the Kunanyi Ultra. Now, I actually first saw an ad for this on Facebook, last year. And I remember thinking, oh, that looks really awesome. And I signed up for the newsletter or whatever it was to find out more information as it came out. And I'm also a running coach, and a few of my clients were like, oh, have you heard of this new race? So I've actually got a few doing it.
Cool.
They're Victoria based. So can you tell me how this race in particular came to be? And I certainly know it struck my fancy because it seems like such a beautiful spot. So obviously that's part of why you've chosen it as well. But can you tell me or tell me and the listeners how?
Yep.
All right, and we're back. We just had some technical difficulties there. Basically, my computer froze and we dropped out. But all good. This is why we love trail running, because we get away from technology. You were just about to tell us why Kunanyi in particular for your choice for this big race, because like I said, it just looks like such a beautiful event. What is it that made you want to bring it to the people?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I grew up in Waterworks Reserve, well, not in the reserve, but just down from it, which is in the foothills of the mountain. And so I had the mountain. So the mountain is its, common name, I guess, for Hobartians. Kunanyi being the Aboriginal name and Mount Wellington being the colonial name. So its official name is actually Kunanyi-Mount Wellington. So both the Indigenous and the colonial name. And I live now on the eastern shore, so I kind of learned a thing or two growing up in an old house in the foothills of the mountain. It does rain every now and again and the like, and it does cast a big shadow, big mountain, big shadow. But live on the sunny side now, looking over at Kunanyi, and my bedroom, actually wake up and look out, and there it is. So
awesome.
The colours in our logo for Kunanyi Mountain Run is actually the sun rising, or the reflection of the sunrise off the organ pipes, the dominant cliffs on the front. But why there? Well, we don't have an ultra length trail run in the south of Tasmania is one, but mainly it's with the capital city here, the airport just next door, and the amazing network of trails, and also like Mount Wellington is or Kunanyi is sort of a microcosm of Tasmania in that it is so diverse even just within Kunanyi itself. So I've counted, and whether this is scientifically correct or not, like 9 different.
But we'll say it's fact. Yep.
Yeah. Well, 9 different sort of landscape types. So ferny gullies, the dry peppermint eucalypt forest in the foothills are really open. The dense big eucalypt, so swamp gum's biggest flowering plant in the world, I think. They're not that big because the entire east, all around the mountain was fully logged before it became a park just at the turn of the century, I think. And then, of course, the boulder fields, dolerite boulder fields, which the vertical kilometre will experience a fair bit of in the upper reach. And all events actually get a nice boulder hop in some sections. and alpine heath at the top, and then snow gum, and that's where the Tassie Waratah and the Rishia Dragonfly, these crazy little pandani things. It's an event that our community's wanted for a long time as well.
Yeah.
And many in our local trail running community are like, well, why don't we have an epic event here? Like it's absolutely amazing. And 3 to 4 or more event organisers have had a good look at it. And there are a number of obstacles. And so none of them really, followed through because of the amount of time and effort required to get through those obstacles. And one of which is just the complexity of land managers. And, so normally you might have, one public land manager and a couple of, or a bunch of private landowners you might want to deal with, or if you're lucky, just one landowner and that's it. On the mountain here, we've got 3-4 different land managers, and then a completely unique authority being Wellington Park Trust. And then all the private landowners as well around that. So Cascade owns a lot of land, and a lot of private landowners in farmland and other rural properties are supporting us as well. And so, and just the sheer logistics and, permits and getting, working out the plans to accommodate, a good few hundred people, or a bit over 1,000 people we might end up having is a pretty mammoth task. So I've been working on it for just over 2 years, at about somewhere between 2 and 4 days a week. And we do also have a team of core volunteers, 10 to 15 volunteers actually doing a fair amount of work, particularly over the last 6 months as well as professional suppliers. So it's a huge job, and I'm so glad we're getting, what are we now? I should know this, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever it is. Very close. Not very close. Can't wait to deliver the first year and see all the hard work pay off. Not for me, but for our community, and celebrating the amazing diverse landscapes of Kunanyi, the amazing stories, and particularly, so we're also we're sort of wrapping in a mountain community and culture festival with the run itself. I mean, we've tried to keep the festival side relatively small this year, and quite focused on the Aboriginal community and the stories that they want to share with our community, which has been an amazing journey thus far, and is only going to continue to strengthen. We're just about to announce or launch the Aboriginal design for the T-shirts and some of those artistic components, that might be throughout our branding, and that's so special. It's really, I feel so honoured that the Aboriginal community was keen to share and saw us as a true ally, and worthy of their time and attention. So and we've got plenty of stories and connection to country and culture and land management, all those sorts of things that we're going to share as well, or they will share with us.
It certainly does look like I had a look. My partner and I, we were looking at the course the other day, and it starts basically pretty much in town. And then so you don't have to drive for miles, and but then you're out in like you wouldn't even know how close you were to civilization. So it's a real mix out there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the foothills of the mountain just touch the city. So in Hobart, it's on our back doorstep.
Yeah.
So many houses, so many suburbs. It is literally out their back door. Literally. And for everyone else, it's like no more than 500 meters, a kilometre away to, the bush. And so as soon as you hit that bush, you can take tracks and trails to just continue all the way through the wilderness to the west coast if you really want to go that far. Like and that's Tassie.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't wait. I'm coming over to run it, and I can't wait. Like, I'm really excited about seeing the course, and I haven't personally run in Tasmania before, so
Cool.
you know, I think it'll be awesome, and I think especially now with, you know, everything opening up again. Touch wood, I don't like saying it out loud, you know. You know, I think it's a great time to explore our beautiful country, and I think we do a little bit take Tasmania for granted and think, oh, we'll go visit later, but I think this is a great opportunity to go visit and see part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, some Tasmanians just want to keep it all for themselves and don't want too many visitors. But you know, what's that telling us? It's telling us that it's so special. You know?
Yeah.
No, it's.
So, do you have many interstate participants?
Yeah, so we've got around 28% of total participants are interstaters. Awesome. So yes, huge, strong, and we ran a you know, an expression of interest before sales opened, and it was about the same. It's around 30%.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Interest from interstate. So I mean, the event is a national scale event. It wants to, you know, end up being really a sort of a must-do event for everyone, for every trail runner across the nation. Of course, we're not expecting to be there yet, and no doubt there'll be some mistakes we'll make and whatever. And we're fully, you know, bring it on. It's only going to make us better.
The first race, there's always going to be some teething problems because that's the race where you learn the most, you know, in the running of it and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty sure trail runners are a pretty, you know, good bunch, and they'll accept that. So it's a 68K course. Was that just how it kind of worked out, or did you have in your mind that you wanted to bike that length?
Yeah, how I've approached designing trail running courses, and I've almost done almost 2 handfuls now, so not that many, but I've been really strong on the and I guess this a bit comes from engineering, where I defined the course criteria, or the design basis for the course, and it as the number one objective is just an epic experience. I am never going to create a course that has to fit a number.
Yeah.
And so, and the other course criteria was to capture each of the diverse landscapes.
Yeah.
To provide a variety of trail types. So some fire trail, some or plenty of single track, some or plenty technical single track, some good steeps, ups and downs, and also logistics has a big part to play. Yeah. So the ultra course is a solo for experienced trail runners, and also, and this is the event I'm most excited about. It's a 5-leg relay.
Yes.
Between 11 and 20 kilometers. So basically, if anyone can jog 10K, then you can step up and have a crack at a leg in the ultra, which I think is a pretty unique opportunity. Particularly as we go through some private land that you have no access outside of the event.
Exactly, I saw that. Yep.
But yeah, diversity land logistics. So yeah, having each leg to be a reasonable distance, an epic leg in and of itself, with the diversity and like I spoke of, with the different track types, and accessible for vehicles and support crew and the like. I mean, look, they are mountain access points. So there's some narrow roads. There's a little bit of dirt road and the like, and you know, everyone needs to drive safely and carefully. And we'll be given you know, guidance on that as well, of course.
Yeah.
But no, it's 68 is just how it came out to create.
But I like that distance because it's long enough, but it's not too long that you can't still enjoy the next day.
Yeah, well, it depends how hard you go. I mean, we do have some steeps. It's we've got almost 4,000 meters elevation in 68K. Nice. So, And the big difference to something like UTA or the like is there's not many steps.
I was going to say, please tell me there's no stairs.
No, there's not many at all.
Good to hear.
But so it's on par,
Yeah.
or maybe in a little, no, probably on par with Hounslow Classic.
Yeah.
68k there, but they've got a bunch of stairs with some of that. So might even be a little tougher. But the 27 kilometre, again, we wanted around that sort of distance, a middle distance that was achievable for anyone who'd done the Point to Pinnacle, for example, the world's toughest half marathon, apparently, on the road. So then, all right, if anyone's done that one, then step up for the next challenge of not only climbing up the mountain, but all the way back down and on the trails. It is a big loop, and it does get the diversity. It doesn't quite get the farmland, but can't fit everything in. So.
Yeah, no. And I mean, I personally like a big loop. Like, I find that more satisfying than, little loops or that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, like psychologically for me, I don't want to go back anywhere near the start again. If I'm, I can't do loops.
I agree.
That's just me. Like some people, backyard ultras are the end point of loops, but that's a completely different objective and mindset.
That's right.
But for ultra runs, it's about the journey of, hey, it's the commitment of going all the way through, and whether it's a big loop or point to point. And it's sort of the same with out and backs. I really don't like out and backs either.
Yeah. I'm not mad keen on them either. Yeah.
No. We do have a couple of short out and backs just to access the aid stations.
Just to get the aid stations. And even I went, oh, that's going to be tough.
But also I think short out and backs are really cool because you get to see the other people before and after you as well. And so connecting with, you don't want to be passing people the whole time, but just to connect with the 10, 20 people in front and behind you as you get in and out of the aid station, it'd be really cool. And you get to get that little bit of camaraderie and perhaps even competition with the people around you.
Yeah. No, like I said, I've had a look at the course and it looks brilliant. And like you said, you've got a variety of distances. You've got the 68 solo and the relay, the 27. And you've got the vertical K, like you said.
Yeah, the Australian Championships. Actually,
the Australian Championships.
Yeah, for vertical kilometre. So fully certified by the International Skyrunning Federation. Awesome. And Skyrunning Australia is has endorsed our race as the Australian Championships. And it will be the Australian team selection event. So the first male and female will automatically be on the team or invited to be on the team, and then others will also be invited to join the team if they'd like. But in saying that, it's really all of our events is less about racing and more about getting out and immersing. So, if you want to be competitive, whether that's with yourself or others, absolutely go nuts, do it safely, but, also have fun. I mean, it's 100% more about having fun, I reckon. But yeah, vertical, it's a completely different experience.
That it's tough.
Are you doing that one as well?
No.
I'll
have returned from America the week before, so I'll be in the less competitive basket. I'll probably be just getting over my jet lag.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll have some more chats before the day. We'll see if you want to. I mean, I just wish I could get out and run with everyone else. To be honest, I mean that
would be hard being a race director, is seeing everyone having fun and going, oh, I can't.
It is. It's tough. Like, and where I want to be in as soon as possible is is have an assistant race director that can completely take care of it all, so I can go out and enjoy the runs as well.
Enjoy what you've created.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's particularly the ultra relay. It's just going to be a great day connecting with your close mates that you've decided to embark on the adventure with. And it's got to be a decent day as well, like we reckon the fastest time for the ultra solo will be around 9 hours. Yep. And cut-offs are designed so everyone will be in, or the tail will be in by midnight, and so that'll be 18 hours. And the bulk of ultra solos should be in around somewhere, 11, 12 to 13, 14 sort of area. So it's a solid day out on the trails. And the ultra relay will be similar, faster teams will be probably a bunch less, maybe 6 or 7 hours and the like. But a great way to connect and share, because you'll jump back in the car with the other 3 people who some of them may or may not have done their leg, and share how it feels and the joys.
I think that's a great social event to do it like that. I mean, and obviously you can still do it as a competitive, but it certainly is a great way of having a day out on the trails with your mates. So
yeah, absolutely. And then the run hub's the other thing I'm excited about, which it's probably not unlike some other events that have a focus on creating as welcoming and embracing sort of finish line and run hub area. So we've called it the Run Hub, and we'll have the cultural activities all happening out of there. We're hiring what's called the Trail Rider. It's an off-road wheelchair, really. That you got a person on the front and back of to because we've got a great network of volunteers here, and so a couple of volunteers will actually do the driving around on the trails up in waterworks and the like. Some great local food. We've got some really great local beverage sponsors. So celebrating some of the best of Tassie beer with Cascade, Willie Smith's with the cider, and also Hobart Brewing Company for a mid-strength, which is probably my favourite beer. Mid-strengths are never really that tasty, I found, but this one is full flavour. So anyway, that's
well, certainly Tasmania is renowned for its food and drinks and that sort of stuff. So it's certainly, that'll be something to and quite honestly, participants will have deserved it. So
absolutely. Yep.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast and sharing with us about the race. Now, like you said, we're going to chat again. We thought I'll try to catch up at the race. I know you'll be busy, but maybe we can do a little short sort of something there too. And absolutely. Then after the race, we'll do a bit of a debrief on how it all went down and what's looking like happening for the future of the race.
Absolutely. You might need to give me a week or so.
Just to recover?
Yeah, I might lay down for a little while. It's an absolute pleasure to be on with you, Isabel, and I'm super stoked you're coming down, and that this will be your first experience running in Tassie. There's so much more on offer. Hopefully you've got some more time booked.
Oh, look, I keep saying it, and that's why this has kind of forced my hand, which is brilliant. So I can actually do it now. So, but yes, I'd love to. I think it's certainly for a lot of Australians, we just it's untapped for us, so I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, great.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much, and we'll speak to you soon. And of course, I'll put all the links to the race and everything in the show notes. So if people are interested in entering, which when do entries close?
Entries will close until they're sold out, and the 27K is sold out. But we do have a wait list going. I think. Yeah, put me on the spot here. Regos might close a week before, but we'll see.
All right, well, go and check the website, people. There'll be heaps of time anyway. When this goes out, there'll still be time. Yeah. So get on it, because I personally think it looks like an awesome race, and I'm sure it will be.
Fantastic. Thanks.
All right, thanks. See you later.